Hey, it's Kirk Duncan, and super excited to be here with you. As always, I'm here because I want to support you in how your team is functioning. Because if your team could have more self-mastery, you know your team could produce and be able to take you and your organization to a whole new level. Because you know how it is. Seriously, you know how it is. It's because when this happens right here, you got yourself a team member who's at point A and you're saying, let's go to point B. And what does the team member do? They start doing this whole wandering thing, right? They're just like wandering all over the place. And why do they do this? It's because the details of where they're going is unclear. They just don't know where they're going. You may tell them what the plan is, or you might be telling them what the goal is, right? But because you tell them, it doesn't mean it actually got inside their head. You see, you didn't realize this, but being a team leader or a coach, what happens is you literally are a psychologist. you get to be in psychology. Because if you want your team to get from point A to point B, you've got to know a few things about psychology. Because just because you tell somebody what to do, it doesn't mean that they're actually going to get here. What you actually want, I know what you want. You want them to do the steps, whatever the steps are. You want them to go in a straight line and to be able to go straight to where you want to go. But you know what you've experienced? This. It's called craziness. It's called the insanity part of being a leader. And it drives you nuts because it's like, what's happening? It's like, I thought I gave instructions to everybody, right? But they're way over here on this edge, or they're way over here on this edge. Okay, I know this is what you want, but I know this is what you're experiencing. And it's not cool. It's really frustrating. And you can wonder, why are you even doing this? And you sometimes you just don't want to do it anymore. So what's happening? What's happening? Okay, let's talk about the common mistakes so you can figure out, so we can talk about what to do to correct this so that we can get your team online. And when I say online, meaning not like internet online, I mean like in line. That's a better way to say it, in line. Okay, common mistakes. Let's talk about this. They can't imagine the success because there's no details in their mind. You see, this is psychology. If the person does not have the details in their mind, they can't even imagine it. And you're going to see why in just a moment as I uncover this for you, why that's such a big deal. The second big mistake is that they drift back to their old pattern of living because there's no new pattern to follow. That's what this is. This is a wandering because their mind doesn't even know, it doesn't even comprehend or even ponder on this. And so that's why they're all over the place. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay, so there are no lifestyle details written down. Like there's no plan, there's no details. Where are we going? What's this going to do? How's this going to change things? Number 4, nothing to keep their mind looking forward. And I'll explain what's missing, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Number 5, they don't know how to move their neural network to support their new ideas. Did I spell that right? You guys know what it means. So here it is. We're in a place where we're not only giving people instructions, we as the leaders, we get to ensure it actually gets in their head. Especially when you have your own business, like your own in-home business, and you're building a team. You want these people to perform, right? You want to support them in reaching their goals. Okay, they lose. Spell check. Wait, hold on. I got to do spell check. They lose passion. They lose passion because there's no directions. Okay, what am I talking about? Okay, let's just go straight to the screen and just show you. Okay, inside every person's head, they have what they think about. And what they think about, you know this, what they think about is what they do. And what they do is what they experience with their goals, relationships, their money, interacting with people, and their time management. It's in their head, right? It's in their head. It's in their head. So what does this mean? Okay, what this means is we've got to get inside their head. Not like literally crawl inside or, put a hole in their head. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the information has to get inside their head. So as a leader, you got to go, okay, I can't just tell them, because people don't listen. They don't listen. They're so distracted. They don't listen. And because they don't listen, the information doesn't go in their head, even though you've said it 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about, where you'll be like, I've told you 15 times. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And it's getting worse. Just so you know, it's getting worse in trying to tell people what to do. So how do we get this information in their head so they actually do something different? Because your team member wants to do better, right? They want to accomplish their goals. They want to feel better. They want to have more money. They want to have better relationships. They want to have better with time management. But what's the core of all this? It all goes back to the beginning of the equation of what's in their head. Now, what's in here is details. There's a certain amount of information that is in their head that we're going to call the details. So let me just put that there. Okay, so in their head are the details. And based upon the details, these details are what they think about. The details. These details affect what they think about, and this is all unconscious. Unconsciously thinking about the details. People act based upon the details in their mind. And that's the cool part, but it's also the bad part. Because when you're trying to help a team member get from point A to point B, they're following the details in their head, and they don't know how to get there. They just take a long time. They take a long time. So a majority of people, what happens is they're in this position about the details. What they think about is what they do, and then that's what they experience. So any of these categories can improve on the outside, but it has to change on the inside. Okay, so what does that look like? Okay, well, what that means is we need to have a process to help this team member to be able to think of new details. And then after they get these new details in their head, they're going to be able to see how to get it done, but we got to get it in their thinker. And then after it's in their thinker, their eyes start to open up and see the opportunities, see the ways in how they can get from point A to point B. They can see it. And now that they've got the details, the new details in their thinker, their eyes begin to open up. And when they think it and they can start to see, like, whoa, this is starting to make sense. What happens then is they actually start to talk about it more. They become a natural promoter of whatever product, service, or whatever your organization has to offer to the world. They become natural at marketing. One of the big struggles you have with your team members is they don't market. They don't talk about what it is that they have and what they have to offer. And they're scared to talk about it. And the reason they can't talk about it is they can't quite see how this is all going to work, and they can't think about it. So when your people are not doing well at making phone calls, they're not good at follow-up, they're not good at, getting on social media and promoting themselves, it's because the details are not in their head. No matter how much you try to teach them how to socialize and to get on social media and to go out and meet people to promote your product or service, they're not going to do it because the talking is fueled by the fact of the details they see in their mind. And if the details, and I'm going to show you in just a moment what those details are, if the details are not there, they don't do it. And then guess what happens? They don't have the passion to stick with the business, and they quit. They quit, or they become a team member that's so discouraging to work with because you have to literally tell them everything to do because they don't have the passion. But if you put the new details in, activates their mind, the details after they've been repeated numerous times, then begin to activate the eyes, which then open the mouth so they become a natural promoter. Then the passion kicks in, and now this team member is relentless at the activity of supporting the organization or the company that you all work for. So you want people who are passionate, but the secret to unlocking this is the details. Okay, what are the details? Here's the details. Because you're building a team and you have a team, you know that sales are important, right? Now, what happens is this person needs to get these details inside their head. Now, what that means is you are going to encourage your team member to write out the details of what the results are going to be in 30 days. 30 days. A 30-day description of the results that this team member wants to have, about them having more team members on their team, about their sales, about the rewards that they're going to achieve because of their success, the impact they're going to have on others, and how they make a difference. Not how you, but how they make a difference. So what happens is you encourage your team member to write a paragraph or type up a paragraph of the details of the results that they're going to have in 30 days. So it's what's going to happen in 30 days. It's not the plan on how to get there. This is the results they're going to have in 30 days. Not 60 days, not 90 days, not in 6 months, not a year, not a 5-year plan. We're going to try to activate this person's mind at the 30-day level. This is already a big enough chore and a big enough step because most people can't focus for a whole month. They struggle. It's like, let's get them to the end of the month. Let's get them through a whole month. So they're going to write out the details. Step 1 is write out the details of what they want their results to be in 30 days. Results about them building their own team, about their own sales, the results about the rewards that they want to earn or achieve, the results about how they impact others, the results on how they make a difference in other people's lives. But they write out the results and they write it down, and it's a paragraph or a page. Now this becomes the written details. Written. Now, you got to do this because people today are so distracted and their heads are so full of information, they can't think about their job, their position, their opportunities longer than like 2 days, and then they're off track. Seriously, they're off track. So you encourage your team member to write down what the results are going to be in 30 days. They write them down. After they write them down, now the next step is to read the details that they wrote for their 30-day results. They start reading these details out loud twice a day. First thing in the morning and at the end of the day. First thing in the morning and at the end of the day. They read the details, and I'll just go ahead and put this in here. They read the details 2 times. 2 times a day. Why? Because they need to start their day with these details on their thinker. Need to upgrade the thinker with these new details first thing in the morning. And then at the end of the day, to close off the day, they read the details of the results that they're going to have in 30 days before they go to sleep that night. At the end of the day. The start and the end. The beginning and the end. So that they can start to get this information into their thinker. Because they're not going to do anything different until the details change. The details have to change. You see, no matter how much you tell them what to do, that is outside information. That's you trying to tell them. And you're not there every morning and every night, so it's not going to stick. Your instructions to your team member is not going to stick. And you know it. You know it. That's why it's really important to have your team member write down what do they want to have happen in 30 days. They write it out, then they read the details out loud. So they read it. So they're not only reading it, they're also speaking it. Now, some people think, well, all I got to do is just read the details. No, say them out loud. The reason why is your voice right here. If you put it in your thinker and you look at the paper and you say them out loud, you are activating these 3 functions of the mind. Do you get that? Write it out. Okay, they thought about it, they wrote it out, they read it, which means they're seeing it, and then they speak it, and so they're thinking it, they're seeing it, and they're saying it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. That is so good. That is so good. It's they're activating their mind, activating their eyes, activating their voice. So they're activating their mind to focus on these details 2 times a day. 2 times a day. 2 times a day. Let me just give that to you like in a big way. 2 times a day. 2 times a day. And the reason why is because the functions of their mind need to turn and look at different details. Because like I was showing you before, they're going to go and they're going to act on the details that are already in their mind, which is their old behavior, which makes them turn into squirrels and makes them just go all over the place and they zigzag everywhere. People forget what you say. Your words are not magical, like they stick in their head. No, I'm sorry, you're not that special. You're not that magical. They don't stick. Your team member needs help with their psychology. They need a written out details of what the results are going to be like in 30 days. They look at it, so that activates their eyes. They say it out loud, it activates their talk. Think, see, talk. Now look at this. Look what's happening. Look what's happening. They think it, they see it, they say it. Now you see this like this wall right here. Now all 3 of these are pointing to the last component that activates a human being. It's their emotions, their feelings. And this is where motivation comes from. So once the mind, with thinking it, seeing it, talking it, if they can activate this portion of their mind, it will drop down in and activate their passion. And when it activates, you will know it because they become relentless at the pursuit of these results. It activates them. You see, people, you don't have motivation, you create motivation. But this is the steps to create motivation. It's a head game first. And then it's a sight game, and then it's a language game. You have to be able to think of the details, see the details, say the details. Motivation can be created in any human being as long as you know the equation of how it works. The reason why you don't have motivation is because you're not talking about the results you want in 30 days. And you can't see the results in 30 days because you haven't wrote down the results, because you are just hoping things are going to work out. And then you're not even keeping your thoughts straight. Your thoughts are zigzagging all over the place. So this is what you do. And then in your details, include these or anything else you want. But it's the process of activating the psychology of who they are and who you are. Your mind functions in a particular order. And if you follow that order, what happens is you raise the vibe. You see, as a person, when you activate your mind and you know where you're going, your vibe becomes a positive vibe, which means you now have an attraction factor working for you. And that comes from clarity on your direction. Because the opposite is true. Confusion on the direction is a repelling energy and a negative vibe, and people are not going to want to talk to you. They're not going to want to talk to them, and it's not going to work. And this is the truth. A confused mind can't perform at 100%. So, tips for a better outcome. Teach your team the value and importance of writing out the results of success they will have in 30 days. Empower them to read the results every day out loud. Ask them to share their 30-day results with you. Assist them in clarifying the details of the results so it is a clear statement. Encourage your team member to add this to their daily routine. It's not difficult. It just has to be done. That's the thing. Your team member can improve their sales and their income and how they feel and reach their goals and their relationships with people and build a team and their time management if they will write it out, read it every day in the morning and the evening, and activate these 3. Naturally, the heart will become activated. The passion will become activated, but only after it becomes clear in the mind. And clarity comes from written details and repetition. Clarity comes from written details and repetition. That's how it works. Because you see, inside your mind, when you go to set a goal, there's no neural pathway to get there. There's no way to get there. And your thoughts are still traveling down the same roads that they've always gone down. And that does not mean a person is going to make it. Just because you set a goal doesn't mean you're going to get the goal. The only reason you will ever get a goal is if you can start to move your mind to go in the direction that the goal is. And the mind needs direction. That's what it needs. So your team members that are struggling, I could tell you why they're struggling. Team members that are not making their sales, I can tell you why they're not making their sales. Is because their mind does not have details. And they're squirrely. And you know it, and they know it. Sit them down, work with them. Help them get their mind to be able to see where they're going so that their mind can see the steps to take. That's what it takes. Cool, huh? It's not rocket science. It just has to be done. That's what happens. It just has to be done. And that's why I wanted to jump on here today, is because over the course of the last couple of weeks of my mentoring appointments, I've seen this show up in different ways. And I've seen people wrestling with this in different ways, with their kids, with their team members, with their employees, with different people. And I've seen that happen. And I'm giving like the same instructions over and over and over again. And it's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just going to make a video on this. So it's very clear, very simple. But what matters is who's going to do it and who's going to get it done as soon as possible. And read it out loud every morning and every day. Watch what happens within 7 days. It opens and ignites that passion like you've never seen before. There is passion hidden on the inside of us that does not get tapped into because of a lack of clarity of where the mind is going. When the mind is confused, passion dies. When the mind is clear, passion activates. Super simple. That is doable. Get your details written out today. Get her done. Now get her done. Now, if you've ever hey, I need a mentor for just a moment, right? I need a mentor just for a moment. Man, if I could help you, go here, 3ke.2/Kirk. I've got a few appointments open up in the month of September, October, through September. And I've got some in September that are open. I think there might be one or two here in the next week or two. But go there, register, then my calendar will pop up. Pick an appointment. Let's talk. Let's talk about what's going on in your life. Let's get you moving. So go to 3ke.2/Kirk if you'd like to have a personal appointment with me. But also, I believe right down here below, there's a link. I have a webinar actually tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I've got a webinar to go into more detail, the psychology of what's going on with leadership. And I'm going to point out more of the psychological problems that people are having and how to help them. Because there's good people. They just don't know what to do to straighten their thoughts out. So I can help. So if you got some time tomorrow morning, boy, jump in on that webinar. I think right below here, there's a link. Click that link. You'll register. It's a free webinar. I'd love to share it some more with you. It's about a 2-hour webinar. You'll love it. Lots of great training. I know you'll turn right around and apply that to your team and your team leaders so that your organization can be more up on having the performance work for you. Because it's so sad. It is so sad when there's so much confusion, right? Oh, man. Okay, get her done. Okay, gotta go. Just had to stop and say hi and help you out because that's what I do here. I help you take that next big step. Awesome. All right, thanks, you guys. Bye.